Okay, so we are back. This is part 2, kind of getting my new Cobra lily. So I just unboxed this. If you haven't, if you have not yet checked out the video, be sure to do so. But I thought I just heard something. I'm going to be planting this Cobra lily in this white pot with some holes on the bottom for drainage. This was actually just a yogurt cup that I rinsed out and cut holes into. And of course I took out the plastic. It's a little dented up. I can't explain that part. But basically, during the summertime, you can have my Cobra lily be sitting in this giant tray of water, and you're gonna think that's a little ridiculous. I don't think it needs that much water. But the thing is, it needs, like, of course the tray is gonna be filled up. I'm only using it to soak sphagnum right now. But you're probably thinking that's a little excessive, but my plan is why it's such a big tray is because the Cobra lily needs to stay cool in the water. So it would just be like this. The water will be all the way up here, and I'll probably have some occasional ice cubes just to make sure that it stays cool. And it's such a big tray because it has, the more water there is, the longer it takes for it to get warm. And so the water will stay cool longer, and therefore the roots will stay cool longer, and it'll be fine. It'll be great, hopefully. So, now that we have that aside, let's actually pot it up into the white pot. I chose the yogurt cup because it is white and it reflects heat, which means the roots will be cool, which is that's essential to growing Cobra lilies. To the point where my Cobra lily cooked to death because its roots were too warm for only like a few days. That's how my other Cobra lily died, and I'm not letting it happen to this one, especially because this one is already mature. So let's get into it. Today's soil recipe that I'll be using for my Cobra lily is going to be sphagnum and a little bit of orchid bark. So let's get into it. I have no idea how much sphagnum moss is going to take up this yogurt cup. I'm just going to start filling this up with sphagnum moss. It's pretty hard. It's hard to estimate how much is going to be in here. This yogurt cup, actually. Maybe that, yeah. And the slightest bit of this will be mixed into it. Okay, so I'm just gonna start getting that soaked. And I have something to tell you real quick. So recently, I've been noticing that almost all of my Venus flytraps, all the traps are closed, just for whatever reason. And that's for every single Venus flytrap. So I don't know what's happening there, but if you guys know, maybe it's some sort of gnat that's going throughout the traps, triggering them and running away. Maybe it's like a larger animal that's jumping on it and playing with the traps. I don't know, but I'm not the most happy about it because the plants actually need to save that energy for winter dormancy, which is what I'm questioning on this Cobra lily. For the first year that I got it, should I put it into dormancy like all the other plants and pull it out somewhere February, March? Or should I just keep it going through the winter and then put it into the winter dormancy next year? Like, should I leave it going for the first winter and then put it into winter dormancy the next winter? I really don't know. But either way, I hope it works because I really want this thing to stay alive. It's so big. It's awesome. I love it. It's a moss montage. a lot of people say cobra lilies like to have wide roots, not deep roots. And whether they like it or not, I would rather have them have, that does not make sense, that's very confusing. I would rather give the cobra lily a little bit of extra space on the bottom and some space on the top. So normally people would trim this thing a little shorter, but I don't know about that. I might just give it the height and the width, just so that if it wants to go wide, it can go wide. If it wants to go down, it has room to go down. And it kind of has a small pot right now. It's not small, it's really big. It's a pretty big pot. It's not the biggest pot that I've... Wait a minute, hold on. Do these have the same pot size? I'm looking at my Sarracenia flava right now. No, the Cobra Lily one is bigger. But the pictures on this thing are much bigger. They're towering. I think the moss is pretty well set right now. So let's stop talking and doing other things and just get straight to it. So, to avoid a lot of shock to this plant, I may as well leave most of the moss that it already has around the roots. I'm not going to strip the roots bare. This Cobra Lily is on my face. Okay, so I am going to add a little bit of orchid bark just because it helps and it makes the soil just a little bit more airy, and it allows the liquid to kind of flow through so that the roots can, you know, breathe and stay cool and do all the other things that cobras like to have. So I just added a little bit of orchid bark to the mix. Okay, so I'm gonna mix this now. Take you in closer. That's what it looks like right now. So I'm getting to the mixing. I'm also gonna rip up these really big chunks of sphagnum moss so that the plant can actually go through it rather than just being walls of sphagnum moss preventing it from going wide and deep and all these things. Okay, I think that is good for now. So, I'm adding the moss. Let's add that, make sure there's some orchid bark. Great orchid bark. Okay, so I filled it up a little bit, just nudge it into the cracks, because now I'm actually going to get the plant in there. Alrighty, so this Darlingtonia, I'm going to start massaging the pot as usual, and it looks like there's actually a little bit of live sphagnum, so I'm actually going to try and transfer that too. Gonna flip that. Yep, comes out great. Okay. It's already barfing some of the sphagnum moss off. Okay, it's got a pretty small root system. And it looks like it was grown from a stolen All the soil literally just fell out of that. Yeah, it doesn't have a big root system, so my guessing was that the plant, like none of the soil hold together. I wasn't even trying to get the soil off. So my guess was this plant was once being attached to a bigger plant, a mother plant, which has now been separated from. So let's get this sphagnum all around the roots. Now it was also kind of sticking up from the pot, as if it wasn't potted very well. So kind of just getting all of the sphagnum into the actual pot. Okay, so now I'm going to grab some of this live sphagnum. Actually, maybe not yet. Maybe gonna grab a little bit more sphagnum, moisten this up real quick. I really wish I had a better camera instead of a computer, so therefore you guys could see the whole process up close rather than from a distance. This video is getting to be very long. It's like 13 minutes something right now. I'm not attempting to make this a long video. I was hoping this would be quicker, actually. Alright, so now I'm just going to fashion the live sphagnum all around the plant. A nice lively texture, nice all around the plant. Make sure the rhizome is pretty well covered, because I didn't really like it that it was sticking out of the pot, but I did love the plant. Unlike my last plant, this plant is hopefully going to survive throughout multiple years rather than just a single summer. In which my previous plant had. Okay, so here is the product. Take them a little while. You done? So the plant, so I'm hoping that this plant survives a little longer than before. Oh my gosh. Whatever. Okay. It looks great, I hope. And it's in really well condition. I'm asking you guys now, what do you think I should do? Should I keep this plant awake during the winter time and growing? Or shall I let it go through the winter dormancy process as most likely desired? You guys tell me. I'm really not an expert at these. I've only grown one Cobra lily before, and it only survived the summer. So yeah. Let me put everything away. Try and get a close-up. So there it is. It's nice and planted up. It looks pretty nice, I guess. My hair is coming down over the screen. It actually looks great, and next spring, whether it stays awake through the winter or goes to sleep during dormancy, it should hopefully make pictures larger than this picture here, which is a 7-inch tall picture. If not, we still have an amazing plant. Very, very satisfied. So I'm taking it to all of my other plants over here. I'm just going to add that to the bunch. So let's do a quick recap. I've started the summer off with a crap ton of Venus flytraps, but most of them have been killed or given away or kidnapped by squirrels. So we really don't have an extreme amount anymore as we did in the beginning. Let's do a quick recap. So there's one, number one. Here's another 3 typicals. There's another 4, so that's, what, 8? Here's my oldest plant, 5 years old. And it has probably like 3 plants in there. So that is 8, and then probably like 12 or 11 plants so far. I have my DCXL. I'm setting the back here. Sarracenia purpurea. Absolutely ginormous. It's going to be a pain to trim all that down for the winter. Pretty sure you're supposed to give Sarracenia like a haircut. Just cut off all of the pictures. The Venus flytrap, on the other hand, they can leave their pictures. Traps. So another one. That is maybe 14 plants because this is 7. Plus this one, that's like 11 or 12. That has 2 plants, 2 DCXLs in there. So then we're at 14. Who knows how many plants are in there? So I'm just going to count it as 1, 15. There's 2 rhizomes of the Sarracenia. That's 17. Once again, 2 rhizomes of this Judith Hindle. So that is 19. Let's come over here. Sarracenia flava, huge. Set that there. That is 20 plants. make it 21. And along with that, I have my Darlingtonia seedlings, or seeds. So we'll count those when they all sprout, if they sprout. I hope they sprout. So right now we have 20. I have 4 Drosera inside. So we are at 24 plants right now. Great. Yeah. Okay, anyways, you guys leave a like and subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next video. And also tell me, should I put that plant in dormancy? It's supposed to go into dormancy, but I feel like if I put it into dormancy, then it might die because of all the shock. Just because, like, yeah, it's gone through a giant box in the mail and then repotted. So, but if I leave it alive, then I feel like I'll be able to monitor it easily and its growth. But the repotting, it won't have any time to adapt to the rooting. So what should I do? You guys tell me. No shout outs for this video, but I'll see you guys in the next. And okay, yeah, bye. This is going on forever.